And yourself?
That describes my situation as well.
You ever believe people when they ask them how they're doing? One is I don't know why we ask people how they're doing because we really don't care if they're not saying that they're doing well or doing great. Like most of
Oh
us
yeah,
are. Most of us, if we don't have a relationship with that person and it's like an interview or it's somebody that we just don't cross paths with on a regular basis, we're not interested in the details of why they're not doing well.
yeah,
Like, I mean, and even if we are, it's inappropriate because the other person doesn't have a relationship with you for them to go into detail. Like, why do we do that? Why do we ask how someone's doing? Like, why can't we replace that with, "Hi, I hope everything's good," and then just regardless of what the actual state is, we just
yeah.
progress to the agenda. You know?
Well, you know what? You think about it, that's actually what we say in emails, though. A lot of times, that's the standard kind of
Oh, hope all is
greeting.
well, and then blah blah blah.
Yeah, like, hey Scott, hope you're doing all right, or hope everything's going okay, or hope you're doing well. You don't say how you doing.
Yeah, no, gonna well that you don't really care about the response.
Yeah.
It's just muscle memory of
Eh,
traditional engagement.
yeah. Imagine if people were honest about how they felt too.
Oh, I
Like,
mean, there's
how you
movies.
doing? Oh, I'm just like shit, man. Depressed every day, obviously. Still kicking though. No.
Yeah, I watched a movie where it was like a suspense movie, you know, with I forgot the name of it, but it was a hotel worker, like a front desk receptionist, and he had some mental disease. I'm not sure if you could call it mental illness. I feel like mental illness is when like someone is like dangerous or something. I think that's whether to themselves or to other people. Is that accurate? Like, for example, like autism isn't a mental illness, is it? It's just considered a disease. What? Even disease has a bad connotation to it.
Yeah, I really don't know. Um, mental illness is, I think, it doesn't have a bad connotation or anything to it. Like
Okay,
depression is mental illness, isn't it?
broadcast on
Anxiety.
your resume. Um, Fighter of mental illness, and let's see how many responses you get
Yeah.
when people want to interview you. Like, no, it's you could be a fighter of cancer, and people might respect that or whatever. But I think mental illness has a bad connotation to it. Like people get quiet.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's. I mean, that's not. That's true. I don't know if you've ever caught there's a movement kind of in tech called open sourcing mental illness, and it's all
I'm,
about that kind of trying to swap that stereotype, because you're right. Like, if you were coming into to work and having trouble with something, and you're like, oh my, I have a broken leg, nobody's shy about that. Nobody's like, if there's something affecting you physically like that, um, nobody's shy. Nobody like tries to hush it up or keep it quiet or is embarrassed by it or anything. It's just like, oh, I got a broken leg. As soon as you're like, well, I've got, depression or whatever, people are really hush hush and kind of embarrassed of it. So there's the stigma to it for sure. That people there's definitely a good swath of people trying to change that, because there's no real reason for it. Um, it's a condition just like any other condition is. So, but yeah, there's definitely people don't want to feel or portray that they're weak or anything mentally. So, or they don't want people thinking about them differently, which doesn't happen
yeah.
with broken legs or cancer or anything like that.
I think with emphasis on I think when people publicize that they're battling cancer, I immediately, just by default, develop a huge amount of respect for them, as well as I'm not sure if the right word is sympathy or empathy. I think sympathy is probably safer, right? But yeah, it's totally different. Like you view them as someone that didn't choose the battle, but be strong. And I'm not even sure if that's appropriate to tell somebody because, like, if you've never gone through it, I'm talking about like cancer or whatever. Then, like, how do you really tell someone else how to behave? But yeah. Well, that's an interesting way to kick off a mastermind session.
Yeah, for sure.
I got some hate comments, I think, for episode 68, where someone said, F you, Scott Nimrod. I hope you die from cancer. You're a ish head. Like, they left like 4 straight. I don't know what I said. I know I say some things that some people just put their head down, but I mean, he never said what I said. Like, I don't know what I said that triggered that person.
Man, so it's episode 68.
Yeah, I mean, I reported him.
Oh,
I
okay.
reported the comments, and I removed the comments, and I muted them.
Oh, gotcha.
But yeah, I woke up like yesterday morning to a whole bunch of comments on my YouTube, and I went to look at it, and this dude was angry, and I'll say a lot of off the wall things. I don't know. I'm not going to rewatch the video to try to guess. I'm sure it's probably something racist or something that I probably said, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think part of what I like about talking with you about some of this stuff is you are open and have a lot of differing opinions, but it's all about, which I like, because it's all about discussing and finding new truths and all that kind of stuff. I don't think you're really set in any particular.
I mean, I stereotype cultures. I do, right? But I mean, I still leave room to get to know individuals.
Yeah. It's people are weird, but yeah, they didn't say anything specific or anything. It was just
no
all caps.
I stereotyped the police earlier, like maybe 10 minutes before I hopped on here. I said, can I even find my comment? How do I did on LinkedIn, but I'm not sure how to find how do I find my activity on LinkedIn? Posts and activity. All right. So someone, this irks me, right? So I'll send you a link. Actually, I'll just post it publicly on the comment feed. And so someone was like, I hate people that act like cops are heroes. Right? To white people they are, but not to anybody else. Well, white people and Asians. But everybody else, like, no, they're not. They don't serve and protect black people. So I said, so someone was like, the silent majority is finally starting to get a little louder. This is a reminder we need to stand up and back the blue, even if it's, let me expand this, just in little ways. And it shows a cop maybe sitting by himself at a diner praying in front of his food. And I'm like, F that. And I'll reply, don't back them. Continue pressing for reform so that they're held to a higher standard than the people that they arrest. They serve and protect whites. They harass and oppress underrepresented minorities. They are the enforcers of systemic racism. They train 6 months to enforce laws that take several years for attorneys to be licensed to practice. Research how the military handles allegations versus a police department. In conclusion, if you back the police without demanding reform, then you are part of the problem. Do not contribute to the oppression of underrepresented minorities by defending the blue wall's oppression. So I'm sure I'll probably get some hate because of that. Yeah, and I try to avoid using the word black. I probably should have done better and also removed white from my reply. But I know this could be an entire hour's worth of a conversation. But like, I think people forget why people hate cops is because, all right, what I'm going to say is offensive. Someone that has someone that could get a job being a garbage man, and I'm not disrespecting garbage men, can get a gun and a badge and be a cop. And so my point is, like, what real training is there? And if it's only 6 months, but it takes attorneys like, I don't know, 5, 6 years or more to actually be licensed to defend people or protect people that are accused, like it doesn't make sense. Something is wrong with that system. So like, F the people that say that the system is good and we need to respect the blue wall. First of all, it shouldn't be a blue wall at all. Like, you cops shouldn't protect other cops' behavior if it's questionable, with emphasis on questionable. And like, that's just my issue. So I'll get off the topic, but like, F that, man. I'm done.
Yeah, the debate's really difficult on that whole thing, because I think we said this before. It's like, when you do talk to people who have a positive opinion of the police, I generally do, and you could say it's because I'm white, but but the thing is whether it is or not, there are a segment of the population, a good segment of it, where the police are just fine and working the way they want them to, and when you have an opposing viewpoint, that's very militant about it, and you look at trying to support them, but the activity is against the police. It's hard, because it's like you don't want to see what the other side's selling, right? Like, we've talked about this before. I don't necessarily want to see, a complete abolishment and defunding of the police department, and whether that's not exactly what they're asking for on the other side of the whole thing, but it's how it's presented. And again, when you get people in that and they see that and they say, well, that's not what I want, they immediately say, well, that must mean I just don't agree or don't have any commonalities, so I'll be the exact opposite. And they become very militant in the opposite direction, because everyone's just conflicting with what the other side's opinions are. So you lose the ability to gain allies on the other side in both ways. You can't get people who hate the cops to realize that some are not bad and some are just normal people, and there are definitely a lot of bad eggs, but that's not all of them.
I mean, you could make that argument towards any, I don't mean to cut you off, but you could make that argument towards any organization. You could say the same thing about terrorist groups. Like, oh, they're not all bad.
Yeah.
There's some of them, they probably lost their kids, or their son or daughter got amputated because the Israeli bomb dropped on them. No, they're not bad people. They're trying to enforce reform. Like, you can make that argument towards any group, any of them.
Yeah.
Of course, if you say terrorism and you sympathize with the motivation, then you get thrown into an investigative bucket, right?
Yeah.
It's always taboo to sympathize with why they're doing it, in which I think there's a legitimate reason, and I don't think it's always about a Islamic caliphate. I think there's other reasons why soldiers join the ranks if they're not forced to. Not all of them, but I think I could totally see people that lose kids to bombings of some powerful government to decide that, well, what else do I have to live for? I mean, retaliation is a must, even if it means my life, because they've taken everything away from me. So let me get this off, and that's it.
Yeah. But Yeah, you're right. I mean, you can make that about that, and there are people who sympathize with, the position of those people. I mean, and hopefully that's just. I wish we'd have more people would have more open discussions and stuff like that. But like I said, it almost feels like the militant side of things, or the really aggressive side, is just all it is just putting the divide further on the issue. And when you have 50 on either side, there's not really a way to make much
Well,
change. But I don't know that the see, when you look at it from my perspective, it's like, I don't know if the cops are a problem, but the but they're put there by other problems. I mean, think about, like, why is marijuana illegal, and how much that gets used as a way to catch people and capture them, and use it. Like, that's a political thing. That's something that people should be looking to change, is decriminalizing a lot of activities. You look at I'll take another example. Look at the poor little kids that start a lemonade stand and get a fine because the health department, they didn't have the correct health issued things to open a stand and sell lemonade. I mean,
yeah, but I get it though. And the difference is not all, but some of those situations, their parents are trying to use their kid. Not all of them, but in some of those situations, the parents are trying to use their kids to generate money.
yeah, not really, at least for where I'm from, but maybe in your
Yeah,
experience it is. But still, I mean, you hear about stuff like that, and it's like, why is that criminal, or finable, um, ticketable? Why does there have to be a policeman engaged in that? I think decriminalizing would be a lot of stuff, would be a huge step in just eliminating the tools people have to try to for those bad eggs to oppress people. Another thing that people look at, are the power unions have in protecting employment, and that's a broad issue. It's not police. It's also schools, right? There's a lot of people who want school choice, but the teachers union's a huge mobilized group of individuals that has a voting block and has influence over incoming voting block and stuff like that. So, like, I don't think that there's much difference between school teachers unions protecting bad teachers and forcing or immobilizing political movements to try to prevent school choice. Then the same thing with cops, is protecting bad cops and stuff like that. So these are broad issues, but again, it's like, it's hard for somebody who's on the side of where things are basically working for them to really want the same thing as where it's not. So I just wish there was a way we could get more agreement and just better discussion, and more actually just real straight up creative problem solving on it. So
yeah. Well, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
yeah, we'll see. Looks like you got this going good.
Uh, I'm back in Canada now, and so like I had time to work for a couple hours on the plane, but besides that, I haven't really done much. I I've been doing a lot of exercise, man. Like, especially since I'm on lockdown or house arrest. Like, I'm trying to like maintain my sanity. So, I just got, I just got hit. It's weird. Like when you get put into a corner, like all of a sudden, if you're really bothered, where you feel like you're cornered and you don't really have options, you start becoming like resourceful. So I was thinking like, how am I going to stay fit when I'm locked up? Can't leave the house. I can't go for a walk. Can't go running. I can't go to a park and do pull-ups. I can't do anything. And then so I just YouTube searched cardio um, at home. I just saw a whole bunch of like, I don't know. I guess you just call it cardio videos on YouTube where like there's no equipment. You just kind of like those. I don't know if you ever been to like a gym where people pay money to work out, but they have those rooms where people listen to music and they do their Tai Bo or whatever they do.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I just did my very first one yesterday, and I think that's going to be my solution for the next. I think I got like 11 days left to do that for like half an hour every day, and I've been doing a lot of stretching. Anyway, I say all this because I probably spend like 2 hours, close to 2 hours a day exercising in some way, physical fitness, and then working my gainfully employed job, and then dealing with family matters. And so, like, I'm really struggling to make time to make progress on this side project. What I was trying to do was I was trying to be more. Where's my? Thought I had a test in here. Where's my test script? Where is my test script? This right here. Hold up. How do I do this? I was trying to write a script. So like last time I demoed this, yeah, execute order fulfillment stages is what I'm writing. And so instead of me manually executing one test per stage of fulfilling an order that a customer makes, I try to write a script that will execute each stage and sleep for 1 second in between each of the stages, so it's observable on the customer app. So that's my intent. And so like when I check out, hopefully I got all my services running. I didn't forget a service. It's hard for me to keep track of all these different services. But so if I do order and
Some UI feedback there.
yeah. Need some more async await. So all right. So it claims it's finding a courier. Sooner or later it's going to say no couriers found because there's no application that is subscribed to a notification for the Miami Beach area, even though this is pointing to California right now. I did add some. I don't know if you care or not, but for every stage that gets completed, then for my Azure listener, I stop a service that's no longer relevant because I'm still getting all these errors on Azure Service Bus that I think is related to like timeouts. The thing is they just keep on going if I don't kill all the Azure services because this mobile app is like subscribed, and I get thousands of errors like just within maybe 20 minutes if I don't kill everything. And those errors are messages, and I get charged for them. But
Weird.
if I briefly try to, I never executed the script yet, so I doubt if it works. But the last one is courier dropped off. That's probably going to be the one that breaks because I still haven't resolved everything. But I'll go ahead and try to execute the script and see if it works, where we could just observe the order fulfillment pipeline post customer order. So over here, I'll just do, I don't know if I should do run or debug. I'll do debug. And then I'll just go over here. Again, it's my first time even testing the code that I wrote. So we'll see. Okay. I don't know what this is. Oh, yeah, this might break. Because I don't store any. Oh, here we go. Crap.
No reference exceptions.
All right, so scratch that whole demo part. Courier accepted. And then my submission is what? Do I even have Jason in here? Yeah. Courier's no. Okay. Yeah, scratch the whole demo part. Next Friday I'll demo it. So stop sharing. And that's it. Who's Daniel? Oh, you have Corona. No, I don't have I don't have COVID. The latest term is COVID. Why did Corona get deprecated?
Well, because there's multiple. Well, no, actually, no. So coronavirus is I think the name of the virus, and it's actually a suite of viruses, right? So this is, I think, the 19th one or whatever. Or no, it's 2019 rather, is when it was found. But I think COVID is the disease that arises from getting the coronavirus. So you get COVID, I believe, from the coronavirus. COVID is a acronym, right?
I don't know. Is it spelled out in all caps?
Or like
I don't think it is. I don't remember COVID being spelled out in all caps.
COVID. I don't know. It's in caps when
Yeah, it is in caps. Yeah, so I think it is
stands for coronavirus disease. So CO corona, VI virus, disease D. So
you're so smart.
No, I just heard that part before. Knowledgeability about something isn't intelligence. But no corona. I do have a pipe though.
No, so for the person that asked me, for Daniel that asked me that question, I'm in Canada. I just flew up here because I have family here, and the protocol for me to be up here is for me to self-isolate, and if I don't, and they catch me, which they're not going to catch me because I'm not, then I risk being fined a lot of money. I risk being jailed, and I risk not being able to come back for 12 months. And it's my guess that because I came from Miami, which is a petri dish, they're averaging like 10,000 cases a day, that they'll probably, I wouldn't be surprised if they have a private investigator sitting outside my house right now. I mean, it's on the state payroll. Like they have taxpayer money to just pay or to contract private investigators to just monitor a person's crib. So it's not worth it's not even worth the penalties, right? It's just not. You know, I mean, there's things that I could do because I think I'm a very smart person and I could game the system, but it's still not worth it. So,
Did you ever look into doing body weight exercises versus cardio stuff? Or is cardio more your wheelhouse?
I'm training for a half marathon, but what I miss is I miss doing pull-ups because that was really helping out my back because I'm really tall. But yesterday, I think I did like 9 sets of push-ups, in which I did sets of 10, which I wasn't really exhausted. Push-ups, I don't believe in push-ups. Like I know they're better than nothing, but I I really don't feel like push-ups really like stress you. You know, like I know you're using some muscles, but I feel like it's not comparable to bench pressing.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, it's not, but you are using overall more muscles when you're doing that. It's just bench pressing. You're concentrating a huge amount on a specific set of muscles
yeah, so
or in your chest.
I did like 9 sets of 10. Um, and then I did a YouTube video for half an hour of doing some cardio, and I did that in the bedroom, and I sweated out a storm. So I think that's going to be my thing now, because I'm locked up. But I don't know how to do pull-ups. Like there's something for me to do pull-ups. I don't know what people do to substitute pull-ups.
You have a well. I know that you're real tall, but I guess if you bent your knees, could you just get a pull-up bar and put it on the door behind you? I mean, I
There's
have a
one.
pull-up bar.
There's one there. I'm scared that because of my weight, I'm going to break something, break the frame or something. Like, I mean, I look. I'm staying in an Asian house, right? So they're small people, right? So like, it's the truth. So I think like with me doing it, like you add another 100 pounds to that bar as I'm dangling from it, I'm scared I'm going to break something, and I don't feel like replacing it.
Gotcha. And on the push-up front, do you ever try elevating your back legs and then just going really slow?
Have I done it? No. Have I considered it? Yeah.
Because there's a bunch of variations you can do on push-ups and all sorts of stuff that'll make it a lot harder. So,
yeah. And plus, like with push-ups, you can't really go deep. So, for example, when I use a machine when I'm benching, unless I'm doing my other type of burnout. So, this is like a whole conversation or new discussion. All right. So lately in Miami, the last exercises that I've been doing when I've been benching is I'll just take the bar, the Olympic bar, and I'll do sets of 100. And I tried to do it 3 times, but my last one I tapped out and I only did 2 sets of 100. And like it's exhausting. I don't know if you ever done that before. You just take a 45-pound bar and you just do 100, and then you take a break for a couple of minutes, then you do another 100, and you just repeat that.
never done 100, but I've done the like low weight stuff for lots of reps, kind of a thing.
But so like I'm able with the machine is best for me because I could go way back like this, like, and I feel like I'm really like stretching for every single rep. Plus I'm hella tall, so I'm burning way more calories. With the bench, like I hit my nipples with the bar, and it feels awkward. But push-ups, I feel like I'm not going deep. Like I feel like I'm doing halfway benches. It doesn't feel right.
Put your hands on a couple sets of books or boxes or something like that.
Okay.
And you can go deep on push-ups if you wanted to.
Yeah.
That's I guess another variant of it.
I mean, I could do that with dips. I wish I could buy something to let me do dips.
You get a dip station.
Did you just send me this?
Yeah, that's a book that I have that I for like a couple years followed, and like the exercises are really what it's a set of body weight exercises and stuff, and he talks about lots of variations on things that make it easier or harder or whatever. There's so many different varieties of push-ups, but yeah, that's something. But on that thing, like my dad has this dip station that he has. It's just like I guess you can look at them on Amazon, but they're just a setup where you've got basically a couple bars, and they're just freestanding. They're not attached to anything. So, but they do take up space. I don't know how much space you have. I don't know. Maybe there's a collapsible one. Maybe.
Oh, look at this. There's a multifunction workout station. It has these are like 200, and so this has to pull up the dips. That's what I need. Like all I need is to put this in the backyard because like my preference is to be outside. Like I like prison workouts, man. I like being in the yard and doing it. Only thing about this stuff is I almost know for a fact, unless it's adjustable, that the pull-up bar is probably only like 7 feet, probably, or maybe it's 8 feet. I need something that's like 9. Like I don't, I don't want to have to fold my legs, fold my knees to do pull-ups. I hate it. I'm looking
Yeah,
at
it looks like there are some adjustable models, but I suppose if if worse came to worse, what a guy could do is you buy one that has some sturdy metal, and then talk to somebody who's like a welder, and have them increase the cut it and weld in and reinforce another foot on top of it. I had never used to consider stuff like that, but then I had this one guy once. We were so he had I don't know if he had this car, and I have a similar car, which is like a Ford Fusion, and they made the headrests on them like bend in like this. And when I first got the car, I was like, why is it like this? And because it was just weird. And now I'm used to it, but he had the same kind of thing, and he actually paid a welder to cut that off and then reposition it so that it was straight up instead of pointing into the back of your head. So like there's metal workers that I don't think it'd be too much money for them to take something like that, cut a hole in it, put another piece of steel in there, and then just weld it up another foot. So
that's a thought. I feel like I'm probably going to be paying another $300 for them to do that job. Bonus. I mean, that's a skilled job, right? They cost money, right?
yeah, but it's not a hard job though. Is I'm guessing you're paid. You could always just get quotes. But it looks like some of these are adjustable though, so maybe they do go up, quite high.
Oh no! I'm looking at the person. I'm looking at the. This is all new to me. I didn't know this stuff really existed. I feel like I'll have to pour some concrete in the backyard and then put it out there to make sure everything's level.
You have a patio or something?
Oh, yeah. There's a patio out here. Well, okay. Let me start over. I don't know. I'm looking at this one. Now, this is interesting. I never really thought about these solutions, but I'm looking at the guy's height, and as it relates to, it doesn't look very tall. It's unfair, man. No one else has to bend their knees except for me when doing pull-ups.
I'm sure there's at least somebody in the world that does.
Yeah. Anyways, if we're talking about coding again, next Friday, hopefully I'll have that script working. And not only was I working on getting that script together to automate the fulfillment of a customer's order on the customer app, but I was also wanted to get to the very last page of the order fulfillment, which is the order being delivered, and it's showing the confirmation page that shows the bank card that was used, the route that was taken, or it doesn't even have to be the actual route that was taken, the route that was suggested, and the courier that did it. And so that's where I was running into challenges, because I don't save any bank card information on the server at all. I take bank card information and then I route it to Stripe for them to process that card, but I don't save anything. But what happened was I either have the option of saving metadata about the card on my server, or just saving that information on the client application on the device itself. And I was like, well, it's probably better that I save the metadata of that card, of the card that was used for that transaction. And, I say the last 4 digits, and then that's probably all I need in the timestamp. And so then if there's any type of audit or whatever, then I have the card that I have information about that card that I could pull up without compromising customers or without getting fined for doing something wrong security wise. So that's what I was working on that I never finished, which led to that runtime exception because there's some other things I haven't addressed because of that update that I'm trying to make.
Cool. Progress though.
Oh, one step forward, yeah. It's not a leap. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm struggling to find time. Like, yeah, I'm just struggling to find time. I need to get this done. I feel like the weekends are the only times where I can like really commit like 3 hours a day.
Yeah, I know the feeling, man. Not that I've had a side project in a while. I didn't really apply to anything new this week, I don't think. Haven't heard back anything either from a couple of threads I do have out there, so still just kind of chugging away at that front, taking it slow. I'm gearing up for my this canoe trip that I've got though, so which reminds me, next week I think I took that Friday off, and I've got to probably get stuff together in the morning and get off. So next 2 weeks I probably won't be on. Yeah, because I'll be heading up to Ely, Minnesota on the 14th, and then the 21st I'll be in the Boundary Waters. So 28th is next time that I could probably do this. So you have to find a surrogate for a couple days.
I think I could find one. Like this other guy I talk to like every other day. He's been working on his homeschooling software. So
yeah, how's that going for him?
He's getting excited. He had got a loan from a bank that for him was a no-brainer. I guess there are certain like how do I say this? There were certain incentives with taking out loans given the current economic situation, and so I think it was like he doesn't have to pay any money on it for an entire year. It has a really low interest rate, and it's forgivable. And so he's been hiring low paid people that are quote unquote gurus in React or Mongo to help him out. So he's every time I talk to him, man, he's always in high spirits. I feel like he sees light at the end of the tunnel. So,
yeah, I suppose too, with schools being all hosed up, the market for his stuff is probably going up here.
Yeah. He I talked to him yesterday, and him and I both decided that we're disappointed in the hype of Azure. It like for me, Azure Service Bus is my issue. Like I just feel like it reminds me of WCF, where it's like infinitely configurable, and like I don't need that. I just need to send messages back and forth, and that's it. Like and easily decode errors without having to have a associate's degree in troubleshooting errors. So he's a big proponent. I don't know if that's the right word of Mongo. Like he preaches it every single time I talk to him about how much easier it is to work with, and things just work, and you don't have to infinitely configure every single aspect of the system. It's just very straightforward. So I think if and when I ever start a new project that's very enterprisey, I'll probably use Mongo since he's going all ape over it. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'd assume if he's ever done just relational database, as soon as you find a NoSQL database, it's like 90% of what we do could probably just run through a NoSQL database.
well, that's MongoDB. I think he's saying that Mongo has
Oh, it's
actual
got another.
cloud solution.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
yeah.
Damn.
So yeah, he's using a document database, but he's talking about their cloud solution. So they're I think they have serverless, and he just claims that you don't have to spend that much time configuring things to work. They just work.
Cool.
So outside of that, yeah. So I'll probably get him on the next Masterminds. That's like I said, I'm wrapping up with the customer app again, and then I gotta revisit the courier app and get the reports feature in there, in which that's going to have reports of the transaction history with the routes that were used. And I got to figure out how to, I think I already know, but basically write the code to deposit money on their bank card. In the customer app, I have the code to withdraw money from a bank card. It's a courier app where I got to write code to deposit money on their bank card. And that's a Stripe issue card. So, yeah. Oh, major announcement. Yeah, I didn't tell you. I'm going to release on two fronts. It's the same app. The only difference is the menu. It's the same app, right?
Mm-hmm.
And every restaurant has a menu, right? So I'm going to. Well, the difference is the landing page too. But I'm going to release doing food delivery and cannabis delivery. Okay, so there's another difference with cannabis is the landing page is going to be different, and that there's no couriers. Well, there's couriers, but the courier is the dispensary. How do you say that? Dispensary? Dispensary?
Dispensary?
Dispensary, right? So
Dispensary?
the courier is the dispensary, and that's it. Like there's no people that get a notification saying, "Hey, you want to deliver some marijuana?" Like no, it's a dispensary, and so it's the same app. And
Did you find a dispensary that you're trying to build for then, or?
there's a smoke shop that told me that they need a mobile delivery solution. I was like, "Yeah, I got you." And that was like 3 months ago. And I updated him like last week and told him I'm still working on it. He's like, "What's taking you so long?" I'm like, "I'm one person. I have a gainfully employed job. I this with Amazon and Uber, they have like 1,000 engineers working on the app. I'm one person and I'm doing something very, very similar, right?" And he was like, I needed that yesterday. I'm like, oh, you can't have it yesterday. Like, and
Tell them to give you some money. Hire somebody.
yeah. Well, I think I'm just going to charge like between 5 and 15% just of all transactions for that. What else? Odie Trice.
I've seen the name and I've seen you talk to him. I don't think I've ever talked to him myself.
He claimed that he would be interested in helping me or partnering on the cannabis side of it for building out tech. I don't know his sincerity with that, but supposedly we're supposed to be having another discussion or conference call either today or Sunday. I think it was Sunday, one of these days. So we've figure out where that goes. But in regards to do I have actual like dispensaries lined up? No. But once I build it, I'm going to preach it because it's just not that much. It doesn't deviate that much from what I'm already doing. It really doesn't. Well, right now, I'm sure in hindsight, there will probably be some things such as protocols before you can establish that you're going to deliver. You might have to have them upload a medical card or a cannabis card, whatever you want to call it. And that's part of that becomes an artifact of the request that the dispensary receives on their notification on if they want to deliver or not. And then they can evaluate that image as being legit or not, and then go ahead and accept or cancel.
Yeah, I suppose that's why people don't get into that, or why there's less competition in that business, is because there's a lot more legal questions around it.
I think it's kind of like hot dog stands where there's only a limited number of people that can participate. Like I think it's kind of like I thought it was kind of like a lottery system in combination with a lot of money that you have to put up front in order to be considered by the state.
Yeah.
And there's a documentary on the disparity between minorities versus white people that run cannabis dispensaries, and how it's overwhelming, like 95% white people, and everybody else gets rejected. So
Jeez.
I gotta find that documentary on it. But anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's the latest updates that I have. How's that table? Or that bench, whatever it was.
Table. Yeah, it's not being worked on. I should have worked on it this year, but I don't know. Just this job hunt thing, and then trying to figure that out.
Are you still doing take-home tests or take-home projects?
No, I haven't. You know, I've been looking at job boards pretty much every day, and just scanning through jobs, and everything just sounds like the same. And I'm getting to the point where just nothing sounds appealing from a tech standpoint. Like you read job posting, it's like, we want this tech, this tech, this tech, this tech, or we do this tech, this tech, this tech, and it's like I don't know if I want to get excited about a tech or whatever. I want to go into a place where they're more excited about what they're doing than the technology that they're writing. You know what I mean? And just every job posting just looks the same.
A recruiter hit me up for Boeing, but then they never followed up after. They never followed up with me. Would you work in aerospace?
Aerospace, probably not.
It seems too boring.
Too much life stuff on the line. Plus, it's military. Military sensitive regulations probably about you might have to get like a top secret clearance and all that kind of stuff, and I don't want to go through all that.
Yeah, they're gonna look at my internet history and start questioning my browsing history.
What's this shroom episode that you talked about with Sean on your
Mr. Nimrod, you have some interesting fetishes.
How do you know that, Boeing?
That'll probably be the most uncomfortable conversation. You just gotta own it, yeah. But,
yeah. So, I don't know. We'll see.
It must have been a lot easier to get a security clearance and be comfortable going through the interview before the internet. It had to be, because people could keep skeletons in their closet, and like no one would really know. No, like man, anything that you're into, anything that you struggle with, if you do whatever on the internet, like the authorities know. And when you apply for that job, it's a high likelihood you're going to be questioned about it. So I don't know. It's interesting. I feel like there should be documentaries on it.
Yep.
But that's it. I don't have anything else to report. So you're going next 2 weeks?
Yeah. Next 2 weeks. I have next Friday off to I got to just get all my stuff in the car and drive up to pick up my buddy, and then we're going up to Ely, Minnesota.
Oh, there's one thing I want to hurry up and vent for like 2 minutes.
Yeah, go ahead.
I found myself getting frustrated as a front end mobile developer that I was given 3 weeks to get a project done, and like I'm an awesome dude. Like a lot of my ego is attached to the work that I do. I'm like, yeah, I have the system where I mock things out, and then I wire things up, and I demo the user experience to a mocked out data feed. I'm awesome, right? But then all of a sudden, it's like it's time. The latest stage, the last stage, is to integrate with the actual server and be connected to the internet. That's usually my workflow. And so I'm like, all right, but they want me to. They don't have a simple API that I could just make a request and get the information that I need. Like I'm required to be tightly coupled and know the inner workings of their server in order to pull down data. And it's just been frustrating because it's taking forever for me to get done because I always have to ask, how do I do this? It takes like 10 minutes to 2 hours to get a reply. And that always leads to another question. That leads to another question instead of them just exposing an endpoint that I could just get my information from. And so have you ever, well, you work on server side or do you do front end?
I do both, full
Have,
stack. So.
have you ever been in a situation where like you just breeze through the majority of the work, but then when it comes to server integration, you're required to be tightly coupled to the implementation details of the server in order to retrieve information versus them exposing an API that you just call with and just be agnostic about its internal workings?
No, not really.
Okay.
Never really had that situation. Most of the APIs that I deal with that are owned by other teams on the back end, like the contracts are pretty straightforward, and if we do need a new endpoint for something, there's usually like a negotiation period or a design discussion up front about how that will look. So, like, maybe that's one of the things that you can add to your workflow is to, when you get something where you're going to have to do a back-end integration with some data or whatever, is to immediately start on that clarity of how you get the data that you want, because it sounds like they're not replying quickly enough to. Could you just jump on the horn with someone and have them walk you through and create the?
I've been trying that. It's the server side developer is also the CTO, and so I can't really push back. And like my biggest argument is my front end client should be agnostic and pretty much dumb. Like it shouldn't know about the internal workings of the server. It shouldn't. But the way that the other side believes is they're so locked into how things work that they don't think about loose coupling. They have their fixed mental model of the system, and they just assume that I need to adapt to it, and it's just a losing battle when I try to bring up clean architectural practices. It's pointless when it comes to a CTO because they're not trying to hear that. And if you're trying to convince them of doing things a different way than what they have invested years in doing, then you're probably not going to be a fit for working with them. That's probably what they're going to think. So,
I mean, I have had situations where, you know, we use an API or something and there's a feature we're trying to deliver, and the person on the other side doesn't believe that, you know, this belongs in our domain, you know, our context. So, but I can't get the appropriate context that they point to, has no capacity or anything to do that actual work to make it clean. So it's like we're left, you know, basically kludging things together or whatever. Or so all I usually do then is just I define the interface internal in my app to say this is what I would expect that this service would deliver me, and then I write an adapter to make it work, to make it work the way I would think that this other service would deliver it. But yes, and then I just put it at, like I said, at the edge of the app. So if I can ever say, hey, you know, this is a responsibility we took on, we shouldn't be taking it on. This should really rely with your system. We can just cut out my adapter code and then, you know, actually hook it up to what they're dealing with. But I mean, yeah, in those situations, it does require deeper knowledge about the topic than what the app that I'm working on should know.
exactly. That's my argument.
Yeah, like there's like in the thing I'm working on, there's rules about, you know, minimum configurations that this entity needs to have in order for this system to be able to properly like analyze it, and that what those parameters are, or what those settings are really different for each like line of service that will do this type of analysis. And so in my mind, that means that those individual services should probably, I should be able to ask them, hey, is this, you know, what you need? Is this good to go? And then if they say yes, then I can toggle state or change state on my side to show that it's ready to be analyzed or whatever. But that it hasn't, so I had to encode those rules on our side of the world. And so I just hit it on the edge of our app in the hopes that one day that I'll just delete it and replace it with the actual call that should exist. So
There you go.
yeah, that's how I deal with that. Is anything that I'm like, this is not what this app should be doing, I put an interface up and I throw it at the edge. And then if you ever have a conversation about tech debt or any of that kind of crap, like, oh, how can we make this better? This whole folder should be deleted because these are things that we shouldn't be doing. And it's pretty easy to.
Yeah, I mean, I've isolated it. Like anything that does like IO, at least relying on the internet, I'll create a library called XYZ data gateway.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the stuff is contained in that library, but yeah, I've been swearing up and down for like the past 3 business days. Just because it's like you try to demonstrate how awesome you are so that you get taken seriously for more challenging jobs by your client, and that you can earn their trust. And then there's things that are like you perceive that is outside of your control, but the one writing you the check, if they're not technical, they're still going to think that there's an issue with you, right? And that's what I'm running into. So,
yep, yeah, I can't fix that.
yeah. All right. Well, it's been real. Thanks.
Yep. Yeah, I guess we'll talk to you in 3 weeks then. A long time.
What does that look like? What day does that?
28th.
Oh wow! All right. Well,
Yeah.
hopefully, yeah. All right. See ya. Bye.
Your app will be done in 3 weeks. I know it. So, all right. Have a good one.
IDK. See ya.
Bye.